I grew up in a place and a time where I was told how important mental health is. The moment I became an adolescent, I was introduced to the world of maintaining mental health in order to maintain other aspects of your life. I grew up living with both my mom and grandmother. They were not the people who told me how important it is. At home, I found it easier not to discuss my feelings because my mom was not allowed to express hers. I grew up angry at her. I didn't talk to my mom about how I felt because I didn't trust her. When I was 10, my mom and I began talking more often. I tried communicating my feelings to her, and in return, I got statements like, "You were too young to get stressed," or "Try being an adult before complaining to me about feeling sad and stressed." I believed her. I dismissed my feelings until they came again. I wrote them down until they came back. I pretended they did not exist, and others told me it was unhealthy to pretend. And I believed them, because as much pretending as I did, those feelings always came back. And I am not alone.
My dad doesn't really understand the importance of mental health.
I don't know if it's because of the way he was raised, but he tends to be very judgmental at times, and there's certain things that, oh, we're not allowed to say because we're kids. And it's like, if I feel some type of way, why am I not allowed to say it?
I don't feel comfortable talking to my parents because I feel like we both have like me and my parents, we all have like different outlooks on life, and both of my parents were raised very differently from me. So I feel like that kind of plays a factor in um like our communication skills.
In this time era, being aware and taking care of your mental health is glorified. Everyone's number one goal is to make sure they are in the right mental state in order to proceed with life. If we take a trip back a few decades ago, mental health was not viewed the same at all. At least that's what my mom grew up to.
In the Caribbean, if you get depressed, it's one of two things. You suck it up, or you're committed into a mental institution. So most times we're told to suck it up. Otherwise, we'd be locked into an institution. We'd be institutionalized. So it's brushed under the rug. You're depressed, you'll get over it. Just think about other things. Don't worry about it. You'll be all right. I still have the mentality, honestly speaking, that if I feel depressed, I can talk myself out of it. Okay? Because as you already know, the disparity with healthcare for minority, it's different. And I can't afford to go sit down and talk to a shrink about anything that's affecting me. So I have maintained. I feel depressed, I brush it under the rug. I gotta move on.
I feel like Caribbean people have this mentality where, like, you cannot afford to be depressed, you cannot afford to have anxiety. It's just like, you don't pay bills, you don't do this, or you have to be grateful for life and blah blah blah. But it's like, if you feel sad, why do you suppress it?
With our differences in mentalities, it could cause difficulties to express our feelings and difficulties for others to understand.
I do have issues talking to my parents because I don't think they're very understanding of my mental issues at all. They often dismiss it and see it as me, just like wanting attention, I guess. Especially when when I'm going through something like an anxiety attack, they don't really help at all. They try to help, but they just end up like really making me feel worse and not helping at all.
Sometimes people feel like their parents aren't nice to them, like they don't talk to them enough. Also, like they're not very open with them. A lot of teens complain that they can't talk to their parents, and that oftentimes results in depression and anxiety.
Sometimes talking to parents can lead to arguments due to different perspectives.
We don't speak as often as I speak to my mom. We normally speak via video chat. But every time we're on a call and we're speaking, it's like the two of us always have a disagreement because he never agrees with certain things I say and I never agree with certain things he says.
Well, I feed my mother with a long spoon. I can only take her by doses. Like, if I speak to her today, I cannot speak to her for the next 4 days because she's a complainer and she doesn't see the light in everything, and she and I, we see things totally different. We don't see nothing the same. Why? She and I can never agree on anything, so I feed her in doses. My mother couldn't accept that she was living at my home. She wanted to control everything in my home, which I was paying the bills and the rent for my home. So it was always a fight because she wanted to control everything.
Even with communication with our parents, we wish for something different or something better than what we already have. Something that can make talking to them much easier. Something they could have done to make communicating easier.
Not all the time I want to be criticized. I mean, I know it's for the good. It's good criticism, but it's like not all the time that's what I want to hear. So it's like if I come to you about a certain touchy topic, I don't want to hear, oh, you have to think positive, everything's gonna be alright. That's not what I want to hear. Comfort me. Comfort me. I mean, you're not here physically, but I don't want to know that everything will be alright because it's not alright right now.
I wish we could be more understanding of each other. I think that's one thing, is that we don't try to like listen to each other. And I feel like another thing is that it's just, yeah, we don't try to understand each other.
If she would have just allowed me to be me and understand that I wasn't her, whom she tried to make me be, who she is, and be like her. I think that everybody is that have their own different personalities, their own persona, and if she had just allowed me to be me, myself, free.
All in all, though we live different lives, we have one common denominator, and that is the communication with our parents. Some of us have it easy and can talk to our parents however we want to. Others have problems talking to their parents. They end up feeling misunderstood, misheard, miscommunicated.